check our stacks, our collection supreme. Limited editions, every collector's dream. We're the myths, we're the legends, with every drop taking over the block, we never stop. In the alleys where the echoes play, Toyleet's the name, hear what we say. Rising, thriving, always vibing. In our realm we're always driving. Toyleet, bring the street, the lit Toyleet, setting the pace. With the snap of the case and a click of the lock, Toyleet's on top and we're ready to rock. Collecting more than just toys, we're up. We're up. We're up.
What up? What up?
Oh, sorry. I apologize. That I on with Lord Ludi still. Just wrapping up. Say hi, Lord.
What's up, Lord Duty?
Yep. Sorry, guys. I'll get back to him. Good deal.
Arranging his next interview.
I'm doing a lot of, he's getting a lot of press conference after the video from 8:00 tonight. A lot of people are asking to have Lord Ludi on their shows to expose the truths behind Spaceballs and Star Wars, the controversy. He's in the process of potentially signing a deal for that big controversy documentary. Might be one of the biggest documentaries in the history of space operas. But you know the deal. He's Ed Axion Figs.
And he's Travis, Mr. Wonderful.
And together
we're
Toyleet. So you guys know the deal. We like to get together, talk plastic. We refer to it sometimes as the plastic passion. Sorry, don't know where that came from. But the plastic passion. We like to talk toys, and but it's not limited to just toys. It's also what we call toy adjacent, which is could be related to the wonderful Animal Awards. I mean, the Planet of the Apes movie that came out last week that I was really.
I don't want to hear about it yet, Travis. I haven't had a chance to get to go see it.
Oh, so you don't want to know about Pale?
I don't want to know about
that's
Pale.
a whole different thing. No, that's a whole different thing. So we like to stick to the adjacent to all that stuff. Could be comics, could be graphic novels, could be toys, could be an animated television show, X-Men '97. We could talk like Teledope did about Mr. Steal Your Girl, but I haven't even seen all that, so they did spoil that for me last week.
Girl.
But yeah, so we'll talk about that stuff. Then we go through, we always have a main topic that we plan to talk about, but we also like to cover, a shout out every week. We always love to shout out someone in the community, somebody who's in the toy community, right? That's doing positive things, drawing positive attention to the community and really, focusing on that. But we also talk about something being Toyleet, meaning, it's worthy of going on the shelf. And then we talk about whether it could potentially be a toilet. And we've had one of those, which, if we recall, was a couple weeks ago, or I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yep, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it was Cody Rhodes, the ultimate Mattel figure there that they just came out with, the version 2 that just was out, do that paint app. But, we sometimes see things get flushed. And then we also have a main topic of the week, right? And before we go too far, Ed, should I throw up the video for the topic this week, or you want to circle back to that for a second?
Let's throw up the video, then we'll hit the chat to say hi to everybody.
Awesome, sounds good.
Gather round, let's take a dive. So every toys come back alive with action figures and Mr. Wonderful by our side. In the Toyleet, where magic's never denied. Cracked pink beaded eyes, lost in time's embrace. Every toy has a story, every figure a face. In the hands of the masters, watch the magic flow. Restoring, transforming as we let the good times roll. Bringing all toys back to life, it's a thrill to see. In the Toyleet, with action and Mr. Wonderful. From dusty shelves to the spotlight, they stand so proud. Toy restoration, shine light.
Awesome. So we'll be talking about toy restoration in our closing segment, which is our main topic, and we'll get to that here shortly. We don't do that lead on for 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes like some folks before we talk
Yeah.
about that 5-minute blurb.
Got to give him credit. Last night he actually got to the topic after like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I was actually pretty
Ton of
blown away.
respect
I was
there.
like, damn, he's already on the topic. The hell
Must
is
have
this?
must
I
have been a
must be
slow
watching
news
the
week.
wrong show.
Awesome. So before I go into some of my gets and stuff, let's hit up the chat. It looks like there's quite a bit of activity right
Oh
now.
yeah, we got it's Chad's here. Thanks for stopping in, brother. And Joe G's in the house. What's up, Joe? And we are officially a Toy Tube because the Nolan is here.
Nolan's
He needs
here.
to change his name to the Nolan because that definitely be better.
I'd probably like change it to be then Olin at that
Yeah,
point.
right.
If I'd
Someone would
misread
read
it.
it as such a screamer.
Such a screamer.
Matthew Matson's here. Welcome to the Crick.
What's up, brother?
And this guy right here he is. Finally, someone that starts on time. Yeah, we try because we're not big like you yet. We can't just start whenever the hell we want to.
The show doesn't start when we arrive. It has
Yeah.
to start on time.
Roll keeper, what's happening? That was all I had star, but let's see if anybody else popped in. Oh yes, Allison from
Hey, Allison.
the land of Troy has stopped in. The retro toy princess. Thank you, Allison. What happened to the suit and tie? Yeah, that was like a snazzy.
Well,
that's
you
only for
recorded
when
that
I'm on
last
the
week,
news,
right?
Yeah, that's only for when I'm on the news.
Yeah. How was Lord Ludi, Ed? How did he handle himself? I only caught the end of the video.
Well,
when you booted
other
him
than
out.
looking like he just climbed out of, the Big Lebowski. I mean, he was doing all right, I mean, but he did say he was in his library doing research. So, I mean, I get it, right? He's
kind of known for that.
Yeah, he's kind of scruffy looking. He has a really nice beard and some beautiful golden locks. I'll give him that. But
did you notice his piercing, gorgeous blue eyes?
I did notice his piercing.
Okay, yeah, because
I mean, funny enough, he said the same thing about you.
He's too nice. He's too kind.
Little bromance going on there in the old land of Wonderful and Ludi.
Yeah, Ludi, man, he's crazy, dude. You gotta watch out for that guy. He does some crazy stuff. He actually sent me back that dark helmet, which we'll take a look at. Darth Vader. We'll take a look at later. So yeah.
Ted Darklaw's in the house. What's up, brother?
What's up, Ted?
Hello.
It's a nice shirt you got there. Speaking of shirts, I think I have one coming soon. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. It's not hella dope, but it might be elite. We'll see.
Well, I gotta wear my shirt now.
Oh, because you're officially employed by him, right? Like that's some big news for you.
Hella dope employee.
Yeah. People should stick around for a while tonight to check out and see if there's anything from Hella Dope, because I think there might be something sometime at some point somewhere here.
That's right.
Hopefully I don't forget. To
So
hit the play button.
You get anything this week?
I did get some good stuff.
Me too. Go ahead and show yours off. I'll pop mine out.
I got some of my favorite. You guys have heard me for, I don't know, the last 7 episodes and then anything before that, talking about my excitement for the Savage Crucible line. I opened these up the other night. Very pleased with them. I'm looking forward to getting my all-in kits. They're on their way. So they should be arriving any day now. But I want to do some pop and swaps on these. I'm really happy with the overall product. I know there's been some foot issues and folks that haven't been happy with it. I have struggled at times to stand them up, but I trust in Savage Crucible to follow up with that and make some improvements.
Have you tried the AWOC armor on them yet?
I haven't had a chance, man. I've been so busy with trying to get ready for May 18th. And then May 19th, because it's like we go live with Hexastack on Saturday, and then I'm doing a toy show 15 minutes down the road on Sunday, and I've got a baby shower in between
weekend,
there,
right? Yeah, you got all that going on
this weekend's crazy. I got my brother-in-law, my brother's baby shower. I've got my my daughter's official 16th birthday, so we got some plans on Friday coming up for that, and then I've got launch of a Hexastack for sale on thehexastack.com. And then Sunday we have a toy show in person. So probably have limited supply on hand of those. I'm going to be moving some other extras like a his tank over there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anything else you got picked up?
I think that's it right now. I haven't been frequented by the Hella Dope boys recently.
So I will show off my stuff. I got the retro carded Recondo in from Hello.
How do you like the sword? Whatever.
This is
Machete?
Valaver's machete that
Oh, okay.
Olin. His knife is big. I like his knife too. He's kind of a kukri style, but
Okay.
I just have him with a bigger machete because he's going to be doing some deep jungle stuff. He comes
Yep.
with a nice backpack. It's the same backpack as I don't know if you had the Tiger Force one. I had the
Yeah, I
Tiger
have the
Force one.
original. I have the original.
Same exact figure as the Tiger Force, just painted in the real original colors, which I really
Right.
liked. Recondo was one of my favorite characters because I was a huge Adventure Team fan, so he kind of fit into that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then I got Ted's roommate in, so this guy's been living with Ted Darklaw for a while. So
He's been living with me too.
yeah,
That's so
now he's
weird.
living with me. Yeah, he's living with everybody. he's such a mooch, man. I tell you,
He is, man.
but he's a great
mooch.
figure. I mean, the Jada Toy stuff and the overlays that they're using are so soft and all that. It's just incredible. So
The gear that he's wearing for the top, it's so soft. I'm not really worried about it. Like, it's not restrictive or anything. I like it because I've never been majorly a huge fan of cloth. They're not horrible. Obviously they have a place, but and I'm sure I'm going to start doing some custom cloth stuff for my AWOCs and the Savage Crucible stuff when time allows. But I like this because it isn't cloth and it has a nice feel to it. So yeah.
But
Very
even like
happy with
their
that.
hair, I mean, like his hair is just so pliable and stuff. I mean, this guy will end up living with Luke when he finally gets his collection wherever he is at.
Yep.
Because he's got all the other three.
Oh,
that come
okay.
out so far.
Yeah, you got him, Liu Kang, or
Chung Li
all the
and all
guys,
them.
Chung
So
Li, and yeah,
he'll be living with Luke eventually. So he's getting kicked out of here. He drinks all my beer, and I buy a 6-pack of Angry Orchard hard cider, and it usually lasts me a few weeks because I only drink once in a great while.
Yeah.
My brother will stop over on a Friday night. I'll have one with him. He drinks like 7 beers to my one apple cider. But now the Kent's here; they're always gone.
Oh man,
he's such a slouch, dude.
That makes sense. Is he sleeping on your couch till 5, 6 o'clock at night too? Like I hear he's doing over at Ted's place.
The bum doesn't do nothing.
Yep.
I come in, he's got, the best part is it's like living with Luke all over again. If anybody's ever watched The Middle, their son come home, he's stripped down to his boxers, is sitting on the couch, and his laundry's all over the floor. That's what it's like living with Ken. I come home, and he's in his heart printed boxers, his karate gear's on the floor. He's got one glove on, one glove off. Beer bottles just laying on the ground. It's just disgusting. He's a pig. I don't know how he stays in such fighting shape with what he eats and drinks. I tell you.
Right. Good deal. Cool, man. Yeah. So I think that's it for pickup. Did you get anything else, or is that it?
No, that's all that I got. So
cool. So I think if that's the case, I think do you have a couple chats start up that you want to go over?
Yeah, let's hit the chat real quick, and then we'll do the toilet or flush it, the shelf it or the flusher shelf.
Yep.
Cobweb Collectors here. What's happening,
What's
Cob?
up, man?
And then Wraith Mace is in the house. Hope everyone's having a good weekend so far, or good week so far. Remember, we are the hammer, the sword, and the smiles. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm sure he means something else, but I'm not good at reading emoji.
Yeah.
I'm too old. I'm too old for that shit. Nomad, what's up, sucker?
I'm not good at it. Go back to Hella Dope if you want that.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
we don't have the soundtrack, so it doesn't sound the same.
Absolutely.
And that's it, man, right now.
Cool. Awesome. So, speaking of that, I'm just going to grab a hold of the camera here and throw it up on me, because this week I'm covering Toyleet or Toilet. And I could make this really long and drawn out, make it somewhere around 18 minutes or so. But really, this is this piece of junk, Star Wars, dark helmet knockoff. He's going in the toilet. You want to hear the whole review? Go listen to my homeboy from he met with Ed. Ed did the interview. You can hear about it on the May the Force Be With You episode. And you can hear about why that
be with you,
as
a matter of fact.
Yeah, May the 14th. So you can go ahead and enjoy that, as we'll be just dumping that in the trash because Lord Ludi took care of the reasons why that's junk. So if you haven't checked it out, go back and check out the May the 14th Be With You video today from Ed and my fill-in Lord Ludi, and you'll get a full read on why that is the toilet. So that's
That's right.
two. That's two. Knock
We
off
got 2
Dark Helmet.
flushes.
Yeah. That was
What
a
episode
courtesy
are we
flush.
on? We're on episode 8, so we're
Yeah.
6-2 for the Toyleet and the
Yeah,
flush.
75% of chance it's going
Yeah.
to go on the shelf. But I mean, that was a courtesy flush. You know, like when it stinks really bad to start,
Yeah.
like you don't go too deep into it, you just chuck
Yeah.
it. Yep, that one's done. So moving on from there. That said, brother, I don't think the chat has picked up too much. So let's jump
Nope.
into the presentation here. We'll go through our shout from the crick. And there we go. That's all you,
right.
brother.
This week's shout out from the crick is drumroll. It's Chad.
It's Chad.
It's Chad gets the shout out for the week because he just got his 4,000 subs. So congrats to him. And Chad's doing some good stuff over there on his channel. Anybody that hasn't stopped over and watched the stuff, he's primarily a 1/18th guy. He does have some classifieds and stuff, but definitely a G.I. Joe fan and a real G.I. Joe as a retired Army veteran. So thank you for your service. And we appreciate you, brother. Keep doing the good stuff you're doing. And cheers to you to get up to 5,000 and up to 10.
Yeah, and just to echo that, thank you, Chad, for all that you do. You guys can find him out on YouTube. Links on the screen here, but it's Chad, and you have the you have him on Instagram at It's Chad YouTube. If you haven't followed him, he's very entertaining, genuine guy. And I mean, how many dudes can be as tough as a guy in the military, like he was, still plays with plastic and calls it dollies and doesn't give a shit? Like that to me right there deserves a shout out in of itself. So Chad, good luck to 5K, 6K, 7K. We're going to try to beat you there. It's probably not going to happen. But again, awesome work you're doing, Chad. Love having you in the community. Keep up the good work, brother.
I got a good chuckle out of Chad. He posted on his Instagram today about his Humvee in the military, how it was named Destro, and he had Destro riding with him. And
that's awesome.
I told him, and I replied to his picture because when I was in, my Humvee was named Bertha Boogie.
That's an impressive one.
Every car that I've had since then has been named Bertha Boogie after my Humvee. So
fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the weekly news, where we got a few things. And I mean, this kind of like partners in pretty cool, like the next step, right? So the next piece of the news is Patriot Force. We talked about this first last week, and again, kind of alludes to Chad and what we talked about. But Patriot Force showed some additional screenshots of some upcoming figurines that they're going to have on the upcoming Kickstarter. Right now, on the screen, you guys can see one of the more recent ones. It's got a cool comparison of the individual's real life photo next to the toy. But it's basically, his name's Eddie Gallagher. It's a Navy SEAL. He's in the digital camo. He has a sniper rifle inspired by Accuracy International. I'm not going to pretend to know what that is. I'm not a gun guy. I don't really know a lot about him. But it seems like for this toy line, they're doing a really good job trying to keep things as true to life as possible. So pretty cool, considering.
Looking at the picture of the dude's figure, like the head sculpt, and then looking at his picture, it's pretty spot on for that scale of a figure. So I'm pretty impressed.
Absolutely. And then they additionally showed some of the other screens here, and this is another one of the unofficial mock-ups of Nicholas Irvin, Army Ranger action figure. Nick earned the nickname Reaper during his time in the military, and his rifle has one of the baddest names around, known as what did you call your vehicle, your Humvee there?
Bertha Boogie.
Yeah, so his rifle was named Dirty Diana.
Yeah.
So thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, him and I would have been buds.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this again. Some real looking action military, 112 action figures. Looks really cool to me. I'm really pretty looking forward to it. And I think Chad just was still in here. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Always thank you for everything you've done, brother. Maybe one day we'll get to see you in one of these cool figures here. At some point we'll see the action farce at some point, I'm sure. But with these, we have the We have this one. So again, this one, they have an upcoming Kickstarter. Definitely, you guys can, continue to pay attention here. I fully intend on following this one pretty closely, as it looks very interesting and looks like some additional roster fillers for anybody collecting Joes or Valaverse and wants a
Did
little
we
bit of a
figure out
slight
what scale these
different.
actually are? Because I know last week we were wondering.
112. These are
they
these are 112.
Okay.
Yep. It's a intended. That's what it says on everything I've seen. It's intended to be a 1/12 scale line that they're going to be bringing to Kickstarter here. I thought it was in June last I checked, but don't hold me to that.
All right.
Cool. Next, I'll go into Fist. So not much in the way of much in the way of like upcoming updates or details about dates of releases, but they did recently launch in Colombia, which was his intention. From Don Man Art here, you can see him. He's signing one of the comics, and you can also see some folks have opened up some of the actual figures. So they did just launch Fist in Colombia. And the event that they had, was deemed a complete success. So that's really exciting, and then should lead to the the launch of Fist in the US, which is going to be soon. But there wasn't any dates to be announced yet.
So speaking of Fist, real quick, remember last week we showed off the Nightwolf vehicle, and we were saying how it's a different vehicle. So I figured it out. The one that we showed the first week, the bigger one, is for the 1/12 scale figures. And then that one last week is going to be for his 1/18 scale figures.
Oh, okay. So it's
he's doing the Fist in 2 different scales. So
yep. Yes, I did see that. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think what was released in Colombia was the 1/12, which is cool. So very exciting here. Oh, that's interesting. Might have to hit Chad up for some more information. He might know more. That's cool. That's awesome. So looking forward to seeing Fist continue to fruition. And again, I'm not sure if folks realize this, but Fist is being partnered with Invincible Toys, I think is who they partnered with to help produce these, but it's still being manufactured in Colombia. I don't know the relationship there, other than that I've seen cross branding of that Invincible Toys.
Yeah, I know when at PowerCon, Invincible Toys was there with 2 other. They had the toy line that we'll bring up here in just a minute, but they had 2 other toy lines that they had partnered with also that were smaller ones, and I can't remember the name of them right now. I'd have to look through my pictures. So I mean, it's kind of like that thing that Fresh Monkey Fiction is doing by partnering with Fury Planet and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so all these smaller toy companies are kind of partnering up so they can have more molds and more more pull in a factory, right? You got 3 or 4 small toy companies that can equal the amount of money that one big toy company is putting out there. They have a better chance of getting moved up the line and getting into the factory,
Oh yeah, getting in the factory also, helps some of these additional lines, build parallel products to one another that can be used. Yeah, so now that's cool.
Yeah.
The next one's a quick one. Valaverse, not a ton of news there. We obviously saw last week the announcement for 100, but I believe Bobby, the owner of Valaverse, he's in China right now, or was in China, and he had posted a picture of some of the initial samples that were coming off the line. I believe this is from that, the leader of the Action Force. I think that's what this is from, looking at it, but this is kind of just a general photo that he had. So for those that are interested in the, I think part of Wave 5, if I remember correctly. I can't think of what his name is, but he's like the sergeant or whatever
Colonel,
it is.
dude? Is
the Colonel, yeah. I think that's what it is, just looking at him. Because if I remember correctly, I think the Colonel had the 2 gun
he does have 2 holsters, but I thought they were going to be attached to the belt and only have 1 strap around the leg.
You could be right. This could be a different figure altogether. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. So that's coming. So I saw that, wanted to make sure folks had their eye on that. Obviously, with Bobby over there, he did also announce that during Joe Fest, he'll be having his typical, not Joe Fest, I'm sorry, DFW event. He'll be having his Valafair kind of announcement where he goes through all of his upcoming stuff. So I'm sure we'll see a ton of photos and such here coming shortly in regards to what's coming for Wave 5 and hopefully after that. Next we got Delta 17. For those that aren't familiar with this is the 1/18th, or as I like to refer to it, the little guy dollies. As Chad uses that dollies term, and it kind of, the 1/18th is definitely where his favorite toy lines are, and they've done a good job coming out with their first wave. I know some folks like Punk with Toys has reviewed them even in advance of the release. I know Toy Connections and Steve, I think, had worked on this very closely and pushed it. The big news that I saw this week from those guys is that they showed a preview of the comic, which is intended to be available at Joe Fest in a few weeks, or I guess about a month or so. So I know, Ed, you're going to be down there.
June 21st or 22nd, one of the,
Good deal.
around that time.
Yeah, so you're going to be down there, and if they have this in hand, you're going to hook the brother up because you know me, I love comic lore, and likely what'll lead to happen is I'll end up buying some of these.
Well, what we'll do is we'll buy 2 of them, and then you can read it live to me because I can't read because I can't see anything. So.
Awesome, and you can just look at the pictures and go, ooh,
right. I'll just look at the pictures then, and follow along. I'll make a ding noise every time it's time to turn a page. Ding.
So can you pull up that chat from Chad real quick?
Which one?
Around the 1/18th.
The
most recent one.
Let me.
You want me to grab it?
The one about the fist?
Nope. It's the one he just posted in the chat just now.
This one, 1/18th, also known as the Lord Scale.
So again, I'm going to defer you guys back to the 8 o'clock show that we launched in the premiere earlier. I can confirm, being friends with Lord Ludi, that it is not the Lord Scale. He is a 1/12th guy. He just told me. He said he would have never produced the Spaceball figures in what he refers to as tiny dolly form. He would have referred to it as, the Lord Scale or Lord Ludi scale, which would have been 1/12th. So I just want to confirm that he absolutely feels that way. But kind of going forward here, looking forward to that comic. So Ed, you'll definitely grab a copy of that for me, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. Good deal, brother. Quick update from 4 Horsemen. I'm going to murder the name of this one, but it's the Cosmic Legion Outpost.
Zach Galifianakis wave.
Okay. So Zaxxas, as I'm going to pronounce it, which is horrible. But they did receive them. They showed some photos on their stream or on their Instagram, highlighting that they shipped out all of the orders that they had received at that point for the all-ins. The all-in sets. That's all they received. I guess the way the shipments come, they come in very specific types of allotments, and the one shipment that they received was the all-ins. So they were shipping out all of those, and I guess they got Scourge in. So maybe some of those people that got Scourge were getting those shipped out, and they were all being processed. Anyone who ordered an all-in plus some other one-offs. My understanding is those are going to be coming out and mailed out a little bit later. But then my understanding is all of the other figures that are like not all in orders, those are expected to ship out beginning of June. And then anyone who, like myself, ordered this from Helidope Toys or on any of the other approved retailers, those are supposed to be hitting shipments at the end of June to consumers. So that's what I'm really
looking forward to this second Gray Alien. So excited.
Did you get anything from this one?
No, but I'll order them from Helidope when they come in.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I've got this all. I did an all in on this one. I'm looking forward to Scourge for sure. So yeah, it's cool. And I think the red guy there, I don't know what his name is, but he looks cool. And I even like the girl here with the dots on her and stuff. The paint apple's cool in that one. I'm not big into these.
The 2 I'll probably
animals.
get is I'll get the Gray Alien, and then I'll get the dude over on the left on the bottom, whatever the guy with the space on it.
Yeah,
I had the Sphexian, and I got one of them, and he's a really great figure, but he doesn't really do anything, so he couldn't fit into my world very well. So
which one's that? Is that the bottom right hand?
He's the white guy, but like they were like blue color in the first wave or book 1.
Oh, but that's the bottom
cool
right hand character, right?
Yeah, cool looking characters. And, the figures are amazing designs and stuff, but they just didn't. They were so bulky, and they didn't have the movement that I wanted to fit into my story the way I wanted them to. So,
gotcha. Cool.
Moving on.
Invincible Toys is the next one here, which I alluded to before. I don't know how I missed this one, but I somehow came across it. I think you shared something, I shared something this past week together. But we saw the Invincible Toys. Again, I know that they've been partnering with like we said, Fist line, but they have their own line that they did a Kickstarter on, which unfortunately I didn't back because I guess I just wasn't paying attention. But it looks really cool now that I'm seeing some of these images, and these first two images are recent shots that they shared on the Instagram, which I thought were really cool. You got the cowboy character, and then you have this almost like a gladiator knight type of thing.
So these are called futuristic combat soldiers.
Okay.
And so, like I was saying off screen before we started, they have the futuristic Spartan, which you can see up in the top picture, the futuristic regular soldier, the futuristic samurai, then they have the futuristic cowboy and the futuristic plains warrior, right? So it basically took the elements for historical elements from these characters or whatever, and then futurize them. So as you can see, like the Spartan helmet is definitely Spartan, but it's got a futuristic look to it. The cowboy is, very cowboyish, but has the cape and all that stuff. The regular soldier is definitely looks kind of like he come out of Halo or something. So
yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it looks cool. I definitely missed out on this one, so I'll be keeping my
it's probably a good line to get into, because I think right now there's only going to be 5, maybe 6 figures, and they're like $30-$35 a piece on Big Bad if you pre-order.
Oh, okay. So they must be still taking orders. I'll have to check it out and see.
Yeah, I think that's the only place you can get them right now is through that other company.
Okay, cool. Good deal. And then last but not least on the news is we've got the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, the Primal Series Collection 2 that they worked on. Obviously, there was the Kickstarter finished out a few weeks ago. There was some recent, news. Spiro, Jason, Brick, highly articulated. They've all been doing a great job communicating some of the updates and stuff. One of the ones you can see up in the left on the back there was that pail pin, which is being thrown in as a free gift to anyone who, I believe it was anyone who backed the Kickstarter. You'll be grabbing one of those, which I'm a huge pinhead. My disc golf bag, my work bags, all those things. I always get some cool pins whenever I'm at shows. There's a cool pin, I get it, hook it in, and throw it on the bag. So I'm really excited to get the pail one. I might have to find a way to get a second one so that my son can have it, because he's into that stuff too. They also announced or showed the preview of the avian weapon set, which I thought was really cool. And what I saw somebody say is how, with this backpack kind of wing set, it's cool because that's something you can give one of the non-flying characters, right?
Yeah,
so I would assume, so that they can battle against the avian characters. So I could see, strapping that backpack on a pail or one of the other characters.
You can make a whole bunch of winged monkeys and bring in the Wicked Witch.
Oh, actually, I didn't think about that. Yeah. And then due to the fact that there was so much love for the reptilian lizards and such, they announced some additional head packs, an additional head pack that's going to be thrown in for anyone who backed the Kickstarter for $300 or more. Additionally, my understanding from what I saw online is that if you backed for more than $300 on the Kickstarter, or if you take part in the backer kit and you do $300 or more, or a combination of both.
Right.
And then
so as long as you hit 300 or more, you're good.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And then I did hear that, and I think it's the only way you can get this, is what I think I heard. You can only get this if you were part of that.
Right.
Double check that though, folks, because I'm not 100% sure, but I thought that's what I had had read or seen from the show over the weekend from Brick. I think it was on his station, or maybe Highly Articulated. And then they also announced that the backer kit is in process. They were doing some preliminary testing in advance of going live with it all the way. I thought I heard Wednesday, but sometime this week I would expect that the backer kit should be live for everyone to go ahead and update things. Definitely go check out the video over the weekend from Brick and Highly Articulated, where they talk about this, because it gives details into the whole setup to it, I believe, and it'll explain kind of how to use that and what you can do, because like they have like 1,000 Mamba and those other characters, those bigger bulky bucks that they had that didn't hit during the Kickstarter. They've added them to the backer kit with the intention with the intention to grow and hopefully secure the minimum threshold for those ordering numbers. But yeah, so Animal Warriors Kingdom update, and that kind of gives me the end of the news for this week. There, Ed, do you wanna hit up the chat?
Yeah, we got quite a few in the chat. So
Awesome, brother.
Robert's Infinite Realms is here. What's up, Robert? Hey guys, hope you guys are well. My net is acting stupidly tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're getting the rain like we are here, my internet's been on and off sketchy all day. Looking forward to seeing Fist at 118th, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing Fist in any skill at this point in time. Blast of Skills, what's up, brother?
How's it going?
Infatuated is here. Good old FU. My boy. My Friday night partner, he hangs out with me on Radnom stream the whole time most
yeah,
Friday. So
that's awesome.
We hang out till late, me and Fu. Look at the Paint Master. It's not that's what I was kind of thinking. It's not Colonel Siege. That's his name. It doesn't look the same because I think I think his holsters actually connected the belt.
It's very possible. I totally might have missed that.
Yes, Jed, we have jokes. They're bad dad jokes, but we do have them. I don't know what that was about.
I'm pretty sure that's about the Lordy and the 118 versus 112. Yeah, so it's not me, Chad. That would totally be Lordy or Lord Ludi. He's the one. Other
guy, Larry 4K, wants to know why we're going through the news so fast because not all of us have to stretch a show off for 6 hours, and, like hearing our own voices. Joe G says his All In should be here on Friday for his Cosmic Legions.
Oh, good deal. Looking forward to that.
And we have Rhea Black in the house. What's up, Rhea? Thank you for coming in. It's okay if you're late. We don't mind. And Mr. Largo, Jim, what's happening, brother? Nice to see you. Oh, look at that. Even Allison told him the same thing. Not everyone had to stretch it out for 3 hours. I don't think I got anything else to start. Oh, we got a new person here. Brickster, what's up, Brickster?
Oh, it's Brick.
And that is it for the chat, my man.
Awesome. Yeah, so like I said, go back and check out that video from Brick and Highly Articulated, I think.
Was that on on Adam's on their Monkey Talk, or?
I would say to check out both of their streams because they're both really awesome. I couldn't tell you which one it was on right off the top of my head because I haven't watched it myself. I haven't had time, but I'll be checking it out later this week. But I know both of them were live this weekend, so I think maybe his was Highly Articulated, and then I think Brick might have done his own show after that he normally does. So,
okay,
but check them both out because they're both awesome streams. And as Brick said, it's Adam's stream. So,
okay,
but you still check out Brick's because he does a great job too. Awesome. So, that said, before we go into it.
Hey, Travis, is there supposed to be music? There's no music playing.
The music was playing on my end.
It wasn't playing on the rest of ours end.
I don't know why. I apologize.
It got very quiet all of a sudden.
Sorry, guys. I don't know why it didn't play, but I could hear it in my ears that whole time, and it sounded great.
Yeah, but you know what? You can hear a lot of things in your own head most of the time.
Could you hear it when I played it in the first run?
Yeah.
Son of a gun. So give me another minute to breathe.
Gather round, let's take a dive. So when the guys come back alive with action fix and Mr. Wonderful by our side in the Toyleet monsters watch the magic flow. Restoring, transforming as we let the good times roll. Bringing old toys back to life. It's a thrill to see. In the Toyleet with action and Mr. Wonderful. From dusty shelves to the spotlight, they stand so proud. Toy restoration, shine light.
It's most
Hey, you can
definitely
hear the
not the
music.
end of the
You
show.
can hear the music that time.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I really just needed like 2 minutes to breathe. So that was the whole reason.
So
Completely
real quick,
intentional.
I just got to bring this chat up because this made me laugh.
Yes.
The old Joe head with the clumps of missing hair reminded me of my ex's dad after he got attacked by that buzzard being his wife.
Awesome.
Oh,
Good deal.
that's
Always
funny.
fun, Allison. I don't know if you pay attention to it. There's obviously that chat that's out there, and Punk, it is always second rate compared to yours.
I know we can't all be 4K Larry. Sorry.
Exactly. Larry 4K.
That's only because he has that guy over on some island in Canada that helps him with the production. He doesn't tell anybody
absolutely.
that. That whole rivalry is just a gimmick that they have. It's like,
Oh,
it's like the WWE. Punk and the island kind of just, play it off like they really hate each other, but they're best buddies in
got
real
you.
life.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
They
that's
both
why.
hate Ohio,
Yep.
and they both have a ton of subs. And
Yep.
from what I hear, they work together to give other people crap. That's what
Yep.
I've heard. Right,
Yep.
Punk?
Yep. And see, they work it well. So like the island is like the heel and Punk's the face, because Punk gives
Okay.
credit to everybody and the island doesn't. So it's kind of
Right.
like,
Right.
it's kind of like one of those things, So it's a good
That makes total
gimmick they
sense.
have. It's been going on for like years. So I mean, it's going well,
Yeah. I mean, that's how I found a Punk with toys.
right.
Because me,
exactly.
I love the bad guys, so I was all
Yep.
about the bad guy to start, and then
Mhm.
I had to do a face turn myself, and that's how
Yeah. Sometimes you
let
just gotta,
Punk in. Absolutely. So this week's main topic is the toy restoration, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, getting messages from Punk on the side here.
Oh, read them in public, please.
Oh, I can't read it. It's an image, but it's
Oh,
I'll save it for him so he can put it out there. I'm sure he'll use it on another show, but I don't. Maybe he won't, because maybe he won't want to get the random slashes that the guy
Right.
likes to hit
Yeah.
people with. But back to the main topic here, Ed. We got toy restoration,
Yes,
and
sir.
there's a number of ways to talk about this, right? You have the bring old toys, and making them current so you can use them with your current stuff. There's also, the scenarios in which, like, I have this spot which is like the restoration spot on my desk where my kids over the years, when they've broke something, they'll he told me to load the shit. Okay, yeah, I guess I will. I'll do that in a second. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
But where your repair toys could involve some super glue, some blue sticky tack, different things like that. So there's a lot of ways around this. But Ed, you are big into flocking stuff. Like, your favorite thing to do is just flock stuff. Sometimes I've heard you just I often hear you just say flock it all the time.
Yep. I flock everything.
That makes sense. Do you get in trouble for flocking in public?
Only if you get caught.
Okay. So it's okay to do. You probably do it by the creek a lot too, don't you?
Yes, I do definitely flock in the creek all the time.
Okay. Gotcha. So do you want to talk a little bit more about the restoration? Because I think you probably do a lot more of the restoration of toys than I do myself. Mine's more just repair jobs for the kids. You seem to do more, enhancements and stuff.
I don't do as much of it anymore as I used to, but for a good 10 to 15, probably 10 to 12, I'll say. I had a flocking service that I actually did for people. I mean, I was probably refurbishing, I'll say, because I did the face paint. I repainted the eyes, the eyebrows, the hair, or the scar, the beard. I also did repaint some of the painted Joe heads. And I did repaired the bodies with repair kits and things like that, and just tips and tricks for probably, like I said, 10 to 12 years for hundreds and hundreds of people. There's probably, if anybody is a G.I. Joe collector, they probably have one of my flocked heads in their collection at this point in time, if it's a refurb. So the biggest trick, I guess, would be matching the old flock, because some of the guys, like say this guy on the right-hand side with just a couple patches missing, that guy might have wanted the hair to be left that was the original hair and just flock in the patch, which I did. So matching that hair was definitely the biggest challenge with the flock, but all the flock is definitely a mixture of like all the colors together. It's just getting the right combination of each color to make it work. I did some really cool like fade flocks and stuff where a flock went from like a brown down to like a lighter blonde in the beard or a darker gray to a lighter gray in the beard or those kind of things. Did lots of different flockings. Like I said, I painted the eyebrows. I'd repaint eyeballs, their scars, their lips, um, clean off stains. A lot of these old figures, even the smaller ones like Adventure People and things like that, Migo, but all have stains on them from just laying around or marker. One of the tricks for getting the stain off of old plastic is using acne cream, like you get at the drugstore. It's like a little
Really?
you put on your pimples. Put a little dab of that on the stain and set it out in the sun, and the stuff in the cream will suck most of the stain out. Sometimes it never gets it all out, but you can get a good bulk of it off.
Huh. That's interesting. Sorry, I'm working on getting this image up over here for us.
And then one of the other tricks to do for stains, especially like something like the old Millennium Falcon, that's kind of a white plastic. A lot of the white plastic, of course, turns yellowish. So one of the tricks is you take that and you soak it in a hydrogen peroxide bath with some UV lights or out in the sun for a couple of days. And the peroxide will, with the UV light, will turn the plastic back to white and get rid of the yellowing.
So do you flock only like the 1/6 stuff, or have you flocked a lot of any of the 1/12 and 1/18?
This is my duster head right here.
Okay. That's
So
cool.
he's all flocked. I've actually flocked some 1/18 scale guys, which is a trick, but mostly because you got to put the glue on and then, put the flock on.
Yeah.
You got to use some really short flock and then getting the glue where you want it to go, because the facial features and all that are so small that's really the biggest challenge, is just making it go where you want it to go.
And now, like, I think a lot of like the toy restoration stuff that you get into, and I know your focus has been primarily with like the flocking, but I think I've seen a lot of folks do other things like, remove things, right? Like remove blemishes, touch up paint, correct the eyes, things like that.
So there's a couple different things like that, right? Because I know, like when I was younger, I used to be able to paint the eyeballs. I couldn't do it now; my eyes aren't good enough.
Gotcha.
And I know Robo on some of his play days where he talks about the customs that he does. He uses like the 1/12 scale because that's his scale. But they make him a 1/18 and they make him a 1/6 scale also. But they make the water slide decals for the eyes.
Yep.
So you basically paint the eyeball iris white, right, or whatever it's called,
Yep.
and then you put the water slide decal on there to get the eyeball. So you're not painting the tiny little circle part of it.
Yeah, I think it's funny when you think about it, right? Because there's really two pieces, right? There's customizing and there's restoration of the toys.
I used to do a ton of customizing. I mean, back in the day, that was what I did more than flocking. That kind of turned me into flocking as I started customizing. And then I was like, oh, I should try this. And I just tried it and kind of figured out the process from building a few model train sets in my, trains in my day using the flock there. I kind of figured it out by looking at some of these faces and stuff like that, how to do that. And so
interesting. So I think that like it's interesting. I think the point is like toy restoration could also be toy customization.
Yeah,
because in like this idea where we state, bringing old toys back to life, it doesn't just have to be, fixing the flocking on a head. A good example, and I should have reached out to Chad earlier and grabbed a screenshot. He had done something where he took a 1/18 scale size play set.
It was a Kid Connection play set.
Yeah, Kid Connection play set. Yeah, and he upscaled it to make it G.I. Joe related, right?
Yeah.
And like he did all sorts of modifications. And in some ways, that's like a toy restoration. I mean, maybe that situation wasn't right because I don't know the whole story behind that one, but
I would say that one probably is more of just a customization. But if you're talking something like bringing an old Toy Biz Marvel Legends figure and making it into something more modern, I would say that's kind of a restoration, right? Like the guys
Yeah.
do that a lot with old cars, old
Yep.
Tonka trucks and stuff, where they will, they're so beat up that they'll restore them, but they'll add their own little customizations. Because, like, say maybe the convertible top's destroyed, right? And they're not going to do the convertible top, so then
Yep.
they turned it into a roadster by changing the tires and painting it, cherry red instead of the original tan color that it was, or green or whatever.
Yeah. So it's an interesting concept because I think that to some degree, if I go buy something off the shelf and I use it and then I customize it, that's customization, right? But I think like my youngest son or my youngest or even my oldest, they used to have a lot of I think it was a Fisher Price brand. And like it was like the little castles that would close. They had like a gate and stuff. Like Imaginext, I think. Is that Fisher Price?
Imaginext was Fisher Price, and they also
Yeah. So
had, yeah, Imaginext was the big one because they had like the
yeah.
little, I don't know, maybe 2.5-inch figures. They had like
Yep.
5 POA. Yeah, they have
Yep.
Batman and castles and
Exactly. So
space
we
and
had like the
everything.
Bat
Yeah,
Cave and
yeah,
we had like the old
yeah,
like Knight's Castle, things like that. And stupid me, before I got really heavy into collecting things other than, the Mattel, wrestlers, um, especially with me being into the Joy Toy stuff that I found in 1/18 now. And I've even found some of the
yeah.
stuff I think on Fresh Monkey Fiction, maybe like they have the small fantasy figure lines. I wish I had kept some of those things because to me, those are older toys that like the batteries, went bad and like the motor went bad on the door and things like
Yeah.
that. So they're technically broken. And I think I could have restored them and then slightly modified them to give them more of like a dark wash paint, and make it
Oh, a lot
less
of that,
kid
yeah, a
colored
lot of that Imaginext stuff would be great to
world build, right?
restore into, kind of doing like what Chad did with the newer
Exactly.
playset, but make it, the castle. I seen a lot of people do that with like their Castle Grayskull, right? They turn
Yep.
that and use it as a prop and for their mythic legions and things like that
Yep.
because it's got that vibe to
I
it.
I kind of want to do that now, but unfortunately, like I got rid of all of those because like I put them on like Facebook Marketplace for like $5-10 just to move them because they took up so much space.
You could probably,
But
like, I bet you if you look on Facebook Marketplace now or in flea markets, garage sales and stuff, you could probably find it because
yeah,
those toys like that are just not the toys people keep because they're just so big, especially like the castles, Bat Cave. Some of those Bat Caves in Imaginext, Luke had one that was probably, I don't know, 3.5 feet tall, and you opened up, it was maybe 3 feet wide, right? It was huge.
yeah. I think I'm definitely gonna do that sometime, maybe for the winter when things
Yeah.
settle down and it's a little colder. I think I'm gonna try to grab one or two of those older Fisher Price items, and I kind of want to like make I want to kind of
You're gonna want to
customize
do
it.
it when it's not cold to at least start with. So get it in like October for up in New York. That way you can
Okay.
primer it before you do anything.
Well,
Because
I have an airbrush system and stuff, so I can
oh,
do
do
that
you?
inside. Yeah,
Oh, that's
I have an airbrush machine and the ventilation and stuff, so I
oh,
can.
you're good then.
I got it a few years ago for Christmas because I was going to customize my action figures,
Yeah.
and I just never got around to it. So I've been sitting on that.
When Luke was in elementary school up through 5th grade, when they all really stopped bringing their toys to school, it was once or twice a week he was bringing home one of his friends' action figure for me to fix, or his
Yep.
Hot Wheels cars for me to pop them open and put a new set of wheels in there or whatever. And it was
Yeah.
like it got to be a joke where like my ex-wife Luke's mom would be, oh, she called me when I was getting ready to leave work. She's like, oh, Luke's got a thing for the Santa's workshop to take care of when you get home. I'm like, because he told his friend he'd have it back tomorrow and it'd be like brand new. I was like, oh shit, I better get to work on that. Yeah.
That's
So
cool though.
I go, oh, I'd clean it all up, fix up some of the paint blemishes on the hair or whatever, and
Awesome.
pop the body apart and put the figure back together. And
Yep.
most of the stuff is just knowing how they actually work so you can
Yeah.
fix it.
Yeah, I definitely think I want to try my own kind of shot at my version of toy restoration, which would be taking one of those other buildings, making it more steampunkish, like futuristic
That would be awesome.
for those Joy toys. Because I with a 3D printer, I always see these greebles you can print off and just
yeah.
plug in. And I've seen so many people do such cool things with it. Take the airbrush, give it just like a black coat or a gray coat, and then give it that darker piece, and it could be a cool setup and cost in the pennies to produce.
Yeah.
Might
Well,
be
look what
something fun to play around
you've
with.
seen Fat Red's dial
Yeah.
that he's done just using basic, what we would consider junk around the house, bottle
Yep.
caps and just odds and all and different
Oh yeah.
greebles
I,
from,
I
oddball
see
things.
people use like medicine
Yep.
jars, like pill jars. They
Medicine
use those
jars and
things.
stuff. Yep.
So often I see them use like the cardboard
Yeah.
like paper towel rolls, just
My buddy
things
Skunk
like
works
that.
there that was on that talking to us that one night in the chat. He makes a ton of these. He takes old like cans, coffee cans usually because they're empty, and they're
Yep.
easy to clean out. And he'll paint them, and he paints them in themes for most of it's for the G.I. Joe Adventure Team.
Okay.
But like he'll paint them orange because the main vehicle was called the Troubleshooter, and that vehicle is orange. So he's got 3D printed like a fuel nozzle, a 3D printed like fuel gauge, and then he makes a rubber hose so you can actually looks like a oil can or a
Gas tank,
gas
something.
can, right, for out in the
Yep.
field. And he makes them for all the GI Joe vehicles. He has some that are like for the headquarters base and things like that.
That's
So,
cool.
I mean, upscaling is just as much toy restoration as it is,
Yeah,
customizing everything else.
upcycling, almost
Yeah.
upcycling, right?
Yep.
So when you think about the toy restoration and stuff, and I looked into flocking before, not because I wanted to flock hair, but because I was into like Warhammer and stuff, and
Yeah.
and then started getting into, for a little bit, I collected some of the McFarlane sports figures when they used to have the
Oh, yeah.
NFL
Yep.
ones, and I was part
The
of
old
some
ones,
group.
right? That were the statue ones.
Yeah, the statue figures, not
Yeah.
the most recent with the basketball
Yep.
stuff, but they had the NFL
Yep.
ones. I got into it because of two things. I thought they looked really cool. I was big into football, and then I saw some customizers doing some cool stuff, making custom, sports,
and stuff.
athletes. Yeah, and some did some custom turf, and that's how I
Yeah.
found out about the flocking to begin with.
Yeah.
And those guys would take like they used a different type of equipment, but they would like buy, like I saw some videos on making your own flocking tool. It would be taking
flocking.
like
Bug
a mosquito zapper,
Bug zapper. Yep. I have
exactly.
one of
Yep.
those. I don't
And then
use
you
it, but I
wire it
have
up.
one.
Yeah. So like when you think of toy restoration, besides like that bug zapper, and I'm sure you Google a YouTube video on how to make your own flocking bug zapper
Oh, there's
tool,
like
there's
Skunk
hundreds.
Works, my buddy Jeff. I taught a lot of dudes how to flock the basics, right? There's 4 videos on my YouTube from 5-6 years ago that I made on the easiest way to get into flocking, the easiest way to do it. And it's the way that I always did it. And I taught people how to do the flocking, and they went out like Angelo, the guy that you met. He's built a couple of bug zapper ones and a flock box. Jeff Skunk Works built an incredible flock box, using like all sorts of electrical equipment and stuff like that. I never used the electrical equipment because I would flock sitting at my kitchen table and do, 15, 20 heads a day, 30 heads a day, depending on what was needed to be done. The ex-wife didn't like it because there was, a lot of bald heads laying all over the place. But, you can get really involved with it because the flocking is really all based on the static charge of the flock. That's why it makes it stand up as opposed to lay flat. So when you're doing like model trains a lot, you see them do flock where they just let it fall. And there's really no need for it to stand up because it's, some of it stands up, some of it lays down because it's usually terrain or turf, right?
Yeah. So obviously I was hinting towards, one of the tools that they use to restore. Like when I think of tools that I use to restore, some of my quick go-tos for others that are, got a kid that runs around the house, got a broken figure that they say, Dad, I just broke this. How do I fix it? My go-to is always some Gorilla super glue. I always have an extra set of rubber bands that I can use because so often I'm so impatient. I don't want to sit there and hold the piece together while it glues, and clamps don't always work. You might get away with clamps for certain things, but because of the angles of a figure, and typically like that's what's broken as an arm or a leg or some sort of joint that needs to be, addressed. What I will do is I'll glue it and I'll use some rubber bands for multiple angles. I even do it when I was 3D printing some of the larger vehicles that I was messing with on my FDM printer. I would use the rubber band to help pressure it from multiple angles, and I'd use 6, 7, 8 rubber bands to just kind of pull it all together, and it worked great. So those are like 2 of my go-tos. I've seen people use like safety pins, like the thumb, like the things they use for sewing, like in some of the softer plastic. I used to see them in, they were like the bone crushing WWE action figures from the early mid 90s. I saw people use those. It was more of a gummy rubber that
Yeah.
you could stick it through. It's probably not going
I
to
used
work
to
on your
have
more.
I used to actually have a what they call a plastic welder, which is
Okay.
essentially like a wood burning or a solder iron
Oh,
type of
okay. Yeah.
tool, but you would just basically heat up both sides of the plastic with a little extra plastic in there and just basically reform the plastic. It
That's actually,
wasn't perfect because you could get some like burn marks if you weren't
yep.
careful, but I mean it still held the figure together better than super glue.
Yeah, that's a great point. And another one is hot glue, right? So sometimes if like a joint is weak and it's not holding in, you can take some hot glue, kind of fudge it in there and keep
Yeah.
turning the joint around so that it keeps its mobility, but it kind of packs in that joint enough to restrict it from falling out. But again, a lot of times when you're doing these modifications or these restorations, oftentimes it's because the kid doesn't want to lose that toy that means a ton to them, or you
Yeah.
don't want to spend the extra money replacing it,
That's another
so you're
really
able
good
to fix it.
that's a really good tip also for like loose joints. A lot of times you
Yep.
can fix loose joints. You put a little drop of super glue, just a little one,
Yep.
and you just let it dry a little bit and keep working the joint so it doesn't harden in place.
Exactly.
Practice because you don't want to do it on a new figure that you really care about, because if you let it
Yep.
go too long, of course the joint will be super glued together. But if you do it right, it puts enough fill in there to uh fill in that joint that's causing it to be loose. So,
Yeah,
but
that's why
again, like I said, I
that's
definitely
what
something you should practice with.
absolutely, and that's why I kind of mess around with the hot glue, because it's
Yeah,
not so permanent, and I feel
yeah,
like worst case scenario, I could kind of get it out. Like if it's not too deep of a joint you're putting it in, like let's just say you put it in a head,
yeah,
it's you're not worried about that like instant seal.
yep.
But it's also gonna allow you to kind of pop that head off if you need to in the future. Whereas the super
Yeah.
glue, if you get
That's
that
how
on
I
there and
when I do like the if I get a 3D printed head or a head that say got a larger ball than the neck joint of the figure I'm trying to put it on, I will take and cover the neck ball on the body in a piece of saran wrap, and then I
Mhm.
fill the hole of the action figure's head with the hot glue, and then I stick it on there and just hold it where I want it to be. And
Okay.
then because the hot glue is pliable, you can still pop the head on and off just like you
Yeah.
normally would. And then of course it doesn't ruin the figure, and you could pop the original figure's head back on if you want to.
Okay, that's a good idea. I typically use like the blue sticky tack, because that stuff seems to last forever pretty well and gives you kind of a similar experience without being
Yeah.
permanent.
Yeah.
So I often use that for that.
I
So
like the
yeah.
I like the hot glue just because to me when I use the hot glue, I can still move the head around.
Yep.
As opposed to the blue tack, I got to pull it off. Like if I want to move the head into a different position, it's got to be, I got to take the blue tack off, right?
Oh,
Because
okay.
you know what I mean. You can't just hold it in one spot, or hold it in
Interesting.
one spot. Is what I'm saying, right?
Interesting.
Like this figure here, um, this guy's head is held on with using the hot glue, so I can move
Okay.
this guy's head just like it was made this way,
Interesting. Okay. I haven't
and I
done
can,
the
and you
the
could
the
Well, you could
saran
pop
wrap
it
or
off.
anything.
Got to heat it up a little bit and it'll come right off.
Gotcha.
So but like that way with the blue tack, the head's just kind of stuck in one spot. With
Okay.
this method, you can move it around and still have the head because the super glue, because you put the saran wrap, plastic wrap, you drape it over the body. So if there's any extra hot glue, you can just trim it off
Oh,
with
that makes
scissors
sense.
and then you don't see it. But that way
Okay.
it forms around that neck ball, but it's
Hmm.
not actually attached to the neck ball because the plastic wrap
That's a
is
good
in there.
idea.
So then you
That's
can
a good
still
idea.
spin it, pivot up and down and things like that. So
Gotcha. That's good. I never tried that in that. I've used the hot glue for things on arms and things like
yeah,
that when there's been like a loose
yeah.
joint swivel in like the bicep or whatever. But
And
yeah,
real
any
quick,
other yeah,
Happy Accident showed up, and he is
awesome.
saying that he had a good experience using Mod Podge for
Huh.
loose joints, which will do the same thing as the super glue will do. It just fills in that gap, and that's a good idea too. Mod Podge is probably a
Okay.
little bit safer because Mod Podge won't freeze the joint up permanently because you could always put it under
Yeah.
hot water.
Yeah.
Real quick though, let's see what Matthew says. Vinegar or vodka and sunlight works better than the hydrogen peroxide, in his opinion. Yeah, I never had any luck with the vinegar. I never tried vodka. I never had any luck with vinegar. I do use vinegar for cleaning, but never tried that for. I did try vinegar for whitening, but it never worked out as well as the peroxide for me.
Have you ever used oh, sorry.
What's up, Pat?
Have
Go
you
ahead.
ever used acetone for like removing like the prints and stuff that are on figures, things like that, to try to like remove them?
Yes, but I
Yeah.
don't like to.
I don't either. I feel like it really, like, because I used to use it for like the WWE Elite action figures and stuff, but it always left like a almost like a burnt
If you
to
don't,
it, or
yeah,
like
if you can do it, and they say, if you do it really small amounts and you wash it off real quick, it doesn't damage the figure. Eventually, you'll see it start eating away at the plastic because acetone is that
that's what
way,
I see.
right?
Yeah, that's what I've
And
seen.
there's things I can't remember the name of the brush restorer that Tony's Figs recommends. Maybe if Lawrence
Okay.
is still here, he'll say what it is because Lawrence did a whole video on it when he removed the tiger stripes from his Ricondo's tiger stripe pants. But
Okay.
there's a brush restorer that's not as corrosive as acetone, so it works good on figures. It doesn't damage the plastic. There's other things. Have a good night, Happy. Thanks for stopping
Thank
in.
you.
There's other
Yep, I've used the
things.
same things.
Yeah.
I used it for like removing tattoos and stuff off like the wrestling
Yeah.
figures, because I wanted to use the buck for like another character, or I wanted to remove the artwork off the tights to go with a basic one. But I definitely I felt like I'd always have, not always. There was a couple times I did a good job with it where it wasn't a big issue, but it seemed more often
It
than
also,
not I ended up with a
yeah,
burn.
it also depends on the plastic of the figure, right? And not every
Okay.
action figure is made out of the same plastic. So some of them are softer, some of them are harder. So you got to definitely be careful with acetone.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the name of that stuff that Punk used that Payne's Toy Sample suggested. That was suggested to him by somebody else. I think Tony's
I used to use
suggested it to him.
I used to use Goof Off is what I used.
Yeah, Goof Off works
So
good on certain paints.
gotcha. That's what I found myself using.
I just
more
really
often than
don't.
not.
The acetone is just always like, of course, when I was doing a lot of the older figures, refurbishing them, they were made out of like
Yeah.
a different type of plastic that really reacted. Like if I took a Fisher Price Adventure People and used acetone on it, that figure is just going to melt. Like
Oh,
the
okay.
way the arms or legs are made, whatever that
Yeah.
plastic, composite was more
Yeah.
susceptible to damage from
The
acetone.
chemical reaction was
Yeah.
much more damaging. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So
Copious amounts of swearing and recreational pharmaceuticals help when dealing with a difficult restoration. Absolutely. Smoking,
the swearing
drinking,
I could.
pharmaceuticals, copious amounts of coffee, and swearing lots is definitely necessary.
Gotcha.
So another trick for cleaning, whitening toothpaste.
Okay.
When you get the whitening toothpaste, like Crest has the whitening toothpaste, but it has like the little it's got hydrogen peroxide in there, of course, which helps, but it's also got like the little, they're almost abrasive,
Okay.
you get like
I
a
know what you're
soft
talking about.
toothbrush and you scrub that on there. That's
Yep.
really good for cleaning up faces on, figures because it brightens the skin
Okay.
tone also.
Yeah. So I can't think of many other. I mean, restoration. There's things, right, but there's definitely a blurred out line there where it goes to the customization and such, which we kind of hinted towards. But I think one of the big ones, and I'm going to throw this out to you because I've never been a smoker in my life, but maybe you've been around or had toys in a smokehouse. Like one of the things I've heard people complain about very, when buying things off eBay and Facebook Marketplace is like, smoke-free home versus being in a smoke home. Have you ever found a good way to remove that smoke impacted figure? Because I imagine that would be a big toy restoration issue for a lot of folks.
Here's a couple of tricks that I know for a fact work on toys that have absorbed odors, and whether that's like they came from a house that was they're stuck in the basement because they have that
Yep.
musty smell. They get cigarette smoke on them. They get some places they get in place. Like I had one. I helped a guy I know clean out his grandparents' attic when they passed away, and there were some older toys up there that were covered in mouse and bat and whatever other
Yep.
animal got up in the attic because it was an old house, covered in that pee and poop. So clean it up really good, scrub it down with, dish soap or toothpaste or whatever that you can do, right? And then you get a tub, plastic tub, however big the box is, or toy is rather. And at Walmart in the hardware section and in the air freshener section, they sell those deodorizer beads. I don't know if you've ever seen them,
Okay.
but they actually absorb scent. So
Hmm.
they absorb, they'll take odor out of the air, and you stick a couple of those in with the box or the toy inside the tub, seal the tub up,
Yeah.
leave it in
Yeah.
there for a few days, take it out, scrub it up. Usually, as long as it's not really bad. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of figures where you just can't get that cigarette smell out of them.
Gotcha.
Like musty odors, you can usually get out pretty easily with that kind of stuff. The that's how I cleaned off the mouse or bat poop stuff. That smell
Right.
got
Right.
off
Right.
there using that. Some of the cigarette smoke, depending on the plastic, really absorbs in there. You can
Okay.
knock it down where it's tolerable. You do this, you clean it, you let it sit in the box for 3 or 4 days, you clean it again. It's usually to the point where you can, not smell it unless you're like really sniffing the figure, right? I mean,
Gotcha.
but yeah, that's a
That's
big
good.
issue, right? Especially the musty and the cigarette smoke is
Yeah, so that's a good point to remove the smell. So it's clean it off with like a soft toothbrush, clean off what you can with a
yep.
toothbrush and some
Yeah, I
whitening
usually let them
toothpaste.
soak in, either dish soap, or I'll use if I have vinegar, I'll soak them in a vinegar bath,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Vinegar
Cold,
will
hot,
actually
does it make
also
a
help.
difference?
Um, Vinegar will actually also help remove some of the, like if there's paint marker, Sharpie markers on that and stuff. Vinegar will
Oh,
actually
okay.
help remove some of that too. So
Oh, that's good. So often, I mean, right, that's a good point, right? Because right now, some of these tips could help some folks. I don't know about you, but I will often do the garage sale kind of tour. And with it being a little bit warmer, we're already
yeah,
kicking off in the Northeast and garage sales.
it's
And that's
garage
like
sale
sometimes
season
the
for
best
us up
place.
here for sure.
It's definitely different now with Facebook Marketplace because people
Yeah.
move product all year differently. So that the garage sales aren't the same as they
The thing
were.
about
And
garage sales
everybody thinks their
now,
stuff's worth so
yeah,
much.
everybody's gone to eBay and saw, oh, this is selling on eBay for this much. So now the
Yeah.
$5 garage sale find is now $27, and they won't budge on it. Well, go ahead and you
Yeah.
sell it on eBay then if you can't budge on
Exactly.
that price. I'm not that.
Yeah, but the toy restoration could help out folks, whether it be a flocking issue on an older, 1/6 type figure, or if it's that smell or musty, whether that's smoker's house, whatever. You can
Yep.
probably get a deal on those things in some cases, hopefully. But yeah, you're right. eBay definitely. And the worst part is you get those people that try to price match their stuff, and they're not even smart enough to do the recent sales, completed
Yeah.
sales. They're
Yeah.
literally looking at what somebody has posted it on there
Right.
for, has 0 bids and has been relisted
Or they don't
27
research enough.
times.
Like when I was a big GI Joe collector, 1/6 scale, like I was shopping all the time, right? And if I would see things all the time from people, even on eBay and Facebook Marketplace, and of course back then Craigslist was really popular. They would just see that it said GI Joe, and it's 12-inch GI Joe. Well, it's from 2000. It's not the
Okay.
1964 Joe that's worth
Right,
500,
right,
right?
right.
This is the 2000 one that was on the shelf for 1994 that's now worth 1594 because it's not in the package, right? But
Right, right,
people
right,
saw
right.
GI Joe, had GI Joe stamped on the butt. Oh my God, it's worth $1 million.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And that's the other thing, right? It's just a hassle. Yeah, you're gonna pay shipping, you're gonna get fees, you're gonna get taxed on it and stuff. If you go through eBay, you're doing a garage sale. Why isn't it if that's the thing I say to them, they'll say it's on eBay, like this is what it's going for. And I'll be like, first, did you check to see if it actually sold for the price you're telling me it's worth?
Yeah.
Or are you telling me that that's just what people have it listed for? Because I'll go list this same picture. I'll take a picture of it now. I'll list it for $3,000 and show
Yep.
you I listed it. It has no value. It doesn't mean it's actually
Right.
worth that. But then I'll also follow it up with a statement like, and I won't be a jerk. I'll be like, so why are you doing garage sale if you can get so much more on eBay? And I'll kind of say it like that to them if they're not budging at all. I'm like, you know what? I'll wait till I see it listed on eBay and I'll keep my eye on it.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh well, hey, and whatnot. But it is what it is.
I
I'm
always
not
like
gonna
to
fight with
throw
them.
out, okay, well, you go ahead and deal with eBay because then you can deal with sitting it up there for 3-5 days at the price you're
Yep.
asking because it's not going to sell.
Right.
And then you can deal with having to get it shipped because you got to pack it and ship it and pay
Or
eBay
returns.
fees and pay your payment fees and everything else that you're going to have to pay. And if you
Yep.
want to deal with all that, go ahead. Or I'm offering you what it's worth right now because I've been doing this for 51 years. So I can tell you what
Exactly.
it's really worth.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's my thought. You know, it's a good time of the year to know how to restore some of these things. So when you're out there, you're
Yeah.
looking around, especially the cleaning one, because oftentimes you're looking to grab something and it's not in
As a
the
matter of
cleanliest
fact,
shape.
one of the things I found in that attic that I helped tear apart, we talked about it last week or the
Yep.
week before that, where the Major Matt Mason. It was called the
Oh yeah.
Spacewalker, and it was actually it had the box. It was still in the box. It wasn't in like mint in box, but it was, they had the box and all the paperwork,
Right.
and then they had the Spacewalker. So I took it all apart, cleaned it all up, cleaned out the battery connections, put a new battery in there, got that working. Then I took the cardboard box and the instruction manual, and I did what I said with the odor thing, where I put it in a tub with some of the deodorizing beads,
Yeah.
and it took most of that urine smell and musty smell out of it. And I ended up selling it because the kid gave it to me. And he's like, just go ahead and sell it. You did all the restoration on it. So
Okay.
I ended up selling it for, I don't know, a few $100, because when I listed it, I was honest about it. I said, well, the box has a little bit of, attic odor smell, or, urine smell from mice, but I did the best to, restore it or whatever. And the booklet's there. And the guy was like, hey, thanks for being honest. And he loved it, dude. He was like, you know, I cleaned up the battery box and rewired some of it, resoldered some of it. And
That's awesome. That's good. That's good. So yeah, I mean, those are definitely ways to restore it. Hopefully, this gives folks an insight into it. I learned a little bit better about cleaning them, like you did, with the mention there. I'm not into flocking myself, but that's definitely a way. I definitely think I want to upcycle, restore one of those Imaginext sets to be more of a
that'd definitely be a cool winter project, especially with
yeah,
you being able to 3D print. You can make all sorts,
yep,
like you said,
greebles and stuff,
satellite
little pipes.
dishes, or, well, depending on what you're going for, if you're going
Right.
cyberpunk or medieval or whatever, right? But you could always
Yeah, yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
print something out.
Yeah,
But
be definitely cool. So
yeah.
yeah, not sure if there's anything in the chat you want to pull up before we go.
No, I've been pulling them up as we saw them, because they kind
Okay,
of,
cool.
I think that's yep. And hold on, we got a new one. What's the
Ooh.
best way for dealing with battery corrosion when batteries have been left in something forever?
So let me answer this first, and then Ed, you jump on top of it because your answer is going to be better than mine. So my answer is marry someone as awesome as my wife, because she always takes the batteries out of the kids' stuff as soon as she puts it away. So we've never actually had that happen with our stuff, because she's been on top of that since my oldest was born. She's always been really good with that. So that's the first step. And then Ed, how do you fix it if it actually happens?
So first step is you wear protective gloves, because that stuff can be nasty on your fingers sometimes, depending on what kind of batteries they are and stuff. I usually just, I'll take a small screwdriver or a really fine knife and scrape off whatever corrosion that you can actually see. That'll also let you know if there's any like broken wires or the battery springs that, are always prevalent in those toys, like especially the D-size batteries from the old days. And then I just clean that up as best I can with the scraper, and then I clean it up with a paint or toothbrush. And then if it's really rusty, I'll use like WD-40 anti-corrosion or a rust converter spray, that kind of thing. And then if I have to resolder, I resolder or
Oh wow,
reform a spring or whatever. But I mean,
gotcha.
it depends on how bad the corrosion is. But I
Yeah,
definitely use, I scrape off the main part of the rust. I clean it with just some warm soapy water without going like crazy, because I don't want it to get down to a speaker or, whatever. Right. Just try to, really, you don't want to have your toothbrush soaking wet where you're like, filling the thing up with water. Just,
Yep.
get the brush wet enough, and then put the spray in there, because most of the WD-40 and that kind of stuff evaporates so quickly it doesn't get down into the electronics, but it will clean off a lot of that rust, especially like a rust inhibitor or a rust converter, those kind of things.
So you're telling me I've been doing it all wrong by spraying it with a hose?
Well, it's okay if you spray it with a hose. It'll just sound like if it's a toy that makes noise, it'll just sound like it's underwater for the rest of it.
Yeah. No, awesome question, Largo. So
Yeah, definitely.
With that said, I think that was a great topic. I think it was a good, to talk about how you could restore things and, move things forward, kind of bring toys back to life, right? Like
Yep.
it covers what you talked about, where you can restore a damaged figure, clean it up. We talked about ways to clean it up, fix a battery related issue. We talked
There's a
about
lot
kind of
of,
like,
I don't have any links on the top of my head right now, but there are links out there for people that really want to get into customizing. I know there's some for the 12-inch GI Joes, and I know some companies make some for the 1/12 scale where they 3D print the joints. So if your figure
yep.
breaks, you can get a new joint, you can get a new pin,
Oh,
those kind of things. So
you,
those guys are out there, for 3D printers that you can buy those parts to rebuild, your
yep.
toys. If you're missing a leg or a foot, you can usually buy that and buy the joint and then, replace it.
Yeah, and you know what? There's another one that I want to point out, and you alluded to this about doing the eyeballs. You use those. What did you call them?
Oh, the water
Because I
slides. Yep.
the water slides. I used to buy the water slides for the football stuff because I'd want to like
Yep.
put a new jersey on or something like that. So I use the water slides for that. I even use some of the water slides. I see it used often in the wrestling community, the action figure customization, because you have folks like CM Punk who have like a Pepsi logo and
Yeah.
a Cobra logo on his arms.
Yeah.
Tattoos, so people will use those. But that's another restoration point you can use. You can get those. What are they called again?
Water slides.
Water slides. You can get the water
Yeah.
slides. So on some older figures, if you play with the plastic and they've gotten dinged up from kids slamming them
Yeah.
together, you bumping them around, you could go back to that acetone or some other cleaning agent to remove the original decal, and you can put a new decal on by using the water slides. There's so many people out there that make the water slides for things. I know that it's very much like model cars and things like that, so you can do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and I've had good luck on Etsy and on eBay searching for because of the technology that we have nowadays with 3D printers and regular printers, inkjet and laserjet printers and stuff. People are making a lot of the old decals.
Yep.
So I have my Fisher Price Alpha Pro, which is the space shuttle still. And the stickers are in pretty rough shape. So I ordered a new sticker set for it, and the
Yep.
guy that I got it from off of Etsy made them just like the originals. They were exact replicas. I peeled the old ones off that were all faded and beat up and put the
Yep.
new one on there, and it was like they look great now, but they're exactly the same shape and the same design and colors as the
Yeah.
original were. So
That's awesome.
I'm going through Punk's videos real quick just to see if I can find that thing, because it wasn't that long ago. So
Oh yeah, no,
go ahead
but I would actually just tell folks to go find it on his stream, right? Maybe you could
yeah,
refer to it on his so that
well,
he
that's what
can
I'm trying to
he can
look
talk
for
with
it.
that.
So
Yeah.
because they can
Well, while
see
you're
how it works.
doing that,
Yeah, keep
I
talking.
think we've
Show the
I
preview
think
for
we've
next
covered
week.
the toy restoration. Exactly. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and preview for what we have next week. Next week we have Toyleet Takeover Forgotten Favorites, a nostalgic look back at discontinued toy lines. So this could be toy lines that were discontinued as recently as the last couple years, or it could be stuff that is, from the 90s or 80s or 70s or 60s, wherever, wherever we find the discontinued toys that kind of spark interest in us. And ones that we're interested in, just kind of talking about their discontinuing, the impact that maybe that line had on other lines that came after the fact, and whatnot. So looking forward to talking a little bit about some of the forgotten favorites. Ed, did that show?
I
Did
was
my screen
looking
show?
on a different screen, so I couldn't tell.
My screen's not changing, so I'm not sure
Nope,
why.
I still see the GI Joe screen. So you probably have to stop sharing that one and go to.
So yeah, let me stop sharing real quick and bring it back. I'm not sure why that was not showing here. Oh, here we go. Sorry. There it is. A nostalgic look back at discontinued toy lines, forgotten favorites. So we'll be going ahead and we'll be talking about this next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Ed,
Yeah, I
any
can't.
points you want to call out on this one?
No, there is some other thing that's safer. It's a brush restorer, and if I can figure out what it is from Aaron or Punk or Tony, I will
Okay.
put it in the comments at some point in time. But it's a
Awesome.
safe alternative to removing paint or tampos. That does it just as good as acetone, but it doesn't damage the figure. So
Good deal. Good deal. So with that said, Ed, real quick, what do you got going on this week between now and next week?
what is today? Tuesday. So Thursday with a friend is going to be on Punk with Toys channel. I'll be in the mod duties on that show. He's got Ed from Joe Fest on there.
Yep.
And then Friday night, I'll be modding for Radnom on his late night craft and chill stream, which is a great stream. Anybody that wants to look into building dioramas, he builds stuff on the stream live and gives tips and tricks and stuff like that. And we discuss it all in the chat while he's doing it. Saturday night, I'll probably be hosting the clubhouse again because I think Oz is still having computer issues and he's got to replace his laptop so he can do lives again. So I'll probably be hosting the clubhouse right here on this channel, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's just a hangout. We just bullshit all night long, usually till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And it's, a cast of everybody from the toy community that pops in there. So anybody that wants to be on there that, wants to hang out and actually be on live with us, hit me up. I'll give you the link. And you want to pop up some of those chats while I'm talking? Because I still got
yeah. Give me 1 second before I do that. I want to show one thing real quick. Let me stop sharing.
You did this
screen.
already, didn't you? Oh,
no,
Crustacean
I think
Island.
we wanted to show that. Yes, that was what I was asked to show from Punk. So yeah, sorry about that. Just wanted to show that, and then here we go. Awesome. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
There's still that I gotta find it, but there's some helidope thing I want to show, but I gotta find it. So go ahead, Ed. I'll pull up the chat.
So that was Saturday Night Clubhouse. Like I said, it'll be 10 o'clock, probably right here, providing nothing major goes up. And Sunday, Hella Dope Toys. Oh, dope.
Yep.
Toys, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll be modding for them. And then Monday, I'm back to modding for Punk again on his normal Monday night toy ramblings. And then next Tuesday, we're right back here on the Takeover.
Yes, Takeover.
What about you?
So I have what's this weekend? Oh yeah, so this weekend is I don't have any shows that I don't mod. I'm not employed by Hella Dope like somebody over here who's now doing a whole bunch of work.
I'm almost as big as Punk now, let me tell you.
Yeah, you're freaking huge, as they say. The whole thing is I've got going on some personal stuff on Friday, celebrating my daughter's birthday. Then on Saturday, I got some prep work because I think there's something launching on Saturday. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it might be the hexastack.com.
Something.
Taking orders beginning on Saturday. I will be sending some messages out to the folks that originally backed me or attempted to back me during the Kickstarter last year. And then
so speaking of that, if you have time, you should jump on the Clubhouse Saturday night and promote the shit out of that.
So I don't know if I'll have time because I'm probably going to be running up to the last hour.
Well, if you have a commercial, give it to me and I'll run the damn thing on the Clubhouse.
Okay, cool. I will try to get something together for it. Yes, definitely. Because Sunday I have the toy show.
Yes.
And actually, I was just announced to be appearing at a toy show on November 10th in Albany, New York at the Albany Capitol Convention Center, which is freaking amazing place. It's really in the heart of the city in Albany next to the MVP Arena, which is our big event, but big arena that we have down there in Albany, New York. And the Cap Center is right behind it, shares a parking garage and stuff. There's going to be like 100 vendors. They already announced Matt and Jeff Hardy going to be in attendance there, along with a company called Heroes Hideout. They're a toy store that's locally here in the Albany area. And I'm going to be at that booth on November 10th. So I'm really pumped about that. It's a one-day event. I know there's some talks about getting some other folks there. There'll be a bunch of announcements, but keep your eyes out on the Hexastack over on Instagram and myself. I'll be sharing the heck out of that as we're leading towards that. But big things happening this week, the big launch, big toy show. Really looking forward to a new product. And then I'll probably come in here hungover, not from alcohol, but just from exhaustion from the convention.
Lack of energy drink. C4 will be run out after the weekend.
Yeah,
so real quick,
I won't have those guys.
out. I don't know if Pat. I don't know if Pat is still in the chat, but Pat is also friends with Angelo. He's
Okay.
he's a 1/6 scale GI Joe guy. Pat is
Awesome.
and he knows Angelo, you know, through the community too. So
Good gift,
funny
good
story, Pat. Travis met Angelo at a local toy show because him and Angelo don't live too far from each other, and they got to talking and found out that Travis is friends with me and I'm friends with Angelo. So it's kind of just a funny thing. So
Small world type situation.
Yeah. Dark Law. The dreaded make me a commercial question. And also,
Yes.
guys, we started a new Toyleet Takeover Instagram. Some of you are following that. So check us out on there. I usually tag myself and Travis in those posts so we can all see it. But, you know, definitely if you can go over to Toyleet Takeover on Instagram and give us a follow there too, it would be great. Yeah, I know, Ted. All you get is make me a Moss Man video. I'm telling Travis to make a damn Hexastack commercial because it's his own company.
There is one. It's just a really small thing, and there's not really any. It's just a hype video that I created.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely I'll give that one out to you if nothing else. But yeah. So that said, I'm gonna throw up the outro here.
Thanks for stopping in, Pat. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
Awesome.
Yep. Let's
Folks,
rock out. Everybody, thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Talk to you next week.
Give us that like, subscribe, follow, stick around. You never know what might come up, right?
That's right.
I think something.
In the town where toys are king, there's a man named Ted Dark Claw, and he's got a thing. It's hella dope toys, no place to get toys. Can for Street Fighter only found a place to stay. Watch them go in the store of your dreams, where camp plots and schemes. Hella dope toys is the spot for a nostalgic play, where you